What's going on, family? Yep, taking a nice little walk, a walkity walk. Just gotta thank God still on a continuation, whatever your situation in this simulation. You know, it's going on a nice journey. You know. Real good journey. But sometimes when you ain't working, sometimes you still gotta look for a job like you have a job, you know? That's what they say, look for a job like you have a job. Opportunities are always out there. Don't let nobody say that you can't get no job. You know, as long as you got breath in your body, as long as you got some type of experience, as long as you're willing to stand for long hours, or if you find an office job where you can sit, just as long as you're ready to exchange that energy and you know you can put in that good work and get work done, then there'll always be a job opportunity. There'll always be a job opportunity. You got to give thanks to God through the good and the bad and the happy and the sad. I'm thankful. You know, things didn't work out at my last job. You know what I'm saying? We got one of the wannabe gangster dudes at the job finally huff and puff and got his animosity out. You know, maybe he needed that. And maybe I needed that realization, you know what I'm saying? That what do you value? Because people gonna continue to test your pride, test your ego, you know what I'm saying? So at this point, it's like if you're not finna respond violently, if you're not finna respond violently, you know what I'm saying, then you have to go to the higher authorities. You gotta go to the manager and stuff like that. But only way that you go to an aggressive response is if you can't get to the authorities, you can't get to the manager, and they got you pushed to a corner. Then you just got no choice. But in that situation, it was a choice. It's just that, wow, I just couldn't believe that he, you know, somebody that looked out for him so many times and shifts and work, you get what I'm saying, to pull that stunt on me when we could have worked together and got up out of there. When we could have just came together, you know what I'm saying, integrated within that work situation and got up out of there. But now he wanted to drop his nuts and like, oh, you just gonna do the work, you know. So it was still a little pride and ego in me, like, oh no, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nah, you know. But I know the next time I go on the job, I know what to expect. I definitely know what to expect. You know? It's all good. Everything gonna continue to test you. It's gonna continue to make you better, make you bitter, or make you better. You know, this program, it can either make you bitter or make you better. You know, I'm tired of being bitter. I'm definitely tired of being bitter. So I can only let it make me better and not come up with excuses to not be at a job because, you know, you don't work, you don't eat. You know what I'm saying? You don't work, you don't eat. You know what I mean? A busy man is a good man. You know what I'm saying? This walk right here is not for the lazy. It's not for the weak, and it's not for the lazy. You know, especially if you don't want to be in a compromising position, then you already know. Every day got to be a day where you look for a job like you already working at a job. You know what I'm saying? You apply that pressure on them, you know. They should see your face multiple times. You know? They should see the energy that you want to put in to get the work done. You know what I'm saying? You gotta let them know. Once people see the sincerity, they see the consistency, they see your face. Cause people will throw you a whole bunch of excuses like, oh no, go on the internet. I already been on the internet. Or apply this, we'll get back with you. Oh no, let me leave a number. You know what I'm saying? When is the hiring manager gonna be around? Oh, at this time. Oh, I'll be there. If not, then you just continue to pop up. You continue to pop up. You know what I'm saying? You continue to pop up like these agents and these perks do. You just pop up. You know what I mean? And the light with certain people, they'll give you opportunity. Sometimes it might not be favorable. You know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna give you the most favorable opportunity. It'll start off like it's smooth. It'll start off like it's favorable. You know what I'm saying? It'll seem cool. But then after a while, you know what I'm saying? Game on. And you know that. Especially being in this program, you know it's game on. You know it's game on. But the thing is, you know what I'm saying? All that, I don't know, like all that gangsterism and stuff like that at the job, all that people acting like they, you know, criminal minded, you know what I'm saying? Like trying to be cool, all that's out the window. They gonna find that out real soon. All that's out the window. You know what I mean? We come to work. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna make your job harder. You shouldn't make my job harder. Because if they try to make my job harder the next job, I'm going to the manager. It's too many times that I allowed people to continue to trick me out of my job. They ain't gonna trick me out the streets. So I know the levels of retaliation. They ain't gonna trick me out the streets. And I know Buddy was not really in no fighting mode. He doesn't look like a fighter. So it's like, oh, I'm picking on him. But how am I picking on him when he called me all out my name? Like he about that life. You know? When I first was in there, he was already acting like, you know, scary. But I guess once my profile got processed, however they do it in the network, he just got tough all of a sudden. You know what I mean? So it's all good. You gotta let people have it. You gotta let people have it. And when it's your turn, you know you do it the right way. You know? You ain't gonna win trying to do it the other way. I guess sometimes it depends on your environment too. But I know I'm around a bunch of slithering snakes. So they'll sit there and act like they tough just to provoke a response out of you. You know what I'm saying? And I feel based off the level of your targeted, you give them what they want, that'd be an opportunity, you know what I'm saying, for them not only to also respond aggressively, or they could play victim, fold, and press charges on you, and they wouldn't be in the wrong. You'd be like, well, officer, he called me out my name. He got all in my face. Officer gonna look at you and be like, well, you put your hands on him. You know what I'm saying? Law language, you know what I mean? And the thing about it, it's a small charge. It's a small charge, but for a person like me with a criminal background, and I already got a warrant in Georgia, that could probably give them, an excuse. He's a menace to society. You see, he's causing up a disruption here in this state. You know what I'm saying? So they can ally up like that, especially if you start getting additional charges in another state. So like if I wasn't in that situation, I'd be like, oh, it's just a battery. I could take that. You know what I mean? It was like you'd be locked up for like a week or two or something. You know what I'm saying? Might have a little probation or something. I have to pay some fines or something. You know what I mean? Somebody be like, I could just take that. Go ahead and just drag them. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it is what it is, It is what it is. But in that situation, it's just like, nah, I can't do that. I can't. So other people, hey, y'all got the opportunity to handle your business, but this make me walk more upright because I see like, okay, I gotta play these folks' game. So if it calls me to get in my little RoboCop mode, where I got a tail to protect myself, you know what I'm saying? Then that's what it is. I'm not gonna put myself in a compromising position to not only trick me out the streets, but trick me out the state. Let me break that down. I'm not gonna put myself in a compromising position that not only trick me out the streets, but trick me out the state. Because in the state I am, or the state of mind that I'm in, is a good place. You're around artificial, orchestrated people trying to provoke rage. You know what I'm saying? This is a rage program. This is a rage program. They trying to get that rage. That's the whole street theater, whole irritation. Everything revolves around how much rage do you have inside. They want to pull that Incredible Hulk out. They want to pull the Hulk out of you. You know what I mean? So to paint you as menace to society, to paint you as a bad person. Then when people try to act like they're really concerned about you, and you mess around and slip up and tell them that you going through spiritual warfare or you going through some gang stalking and stuff like that, they gonna professionally put your behind in some type of psych ward, prescribe you things, diagnose you with certain mental illnesses. Now your rights have been taken. Now anything you say, they won't take it as factual. They'll just look at you as a person that has one of them unreasonable minds. You know what I'm saying? Your mind is what broken. So it's just many ways you have to play it out. You know what I'm saying? I thought they would at least try to respect me enough not to call me out my name. I understand they do the tactics, but it's like, oh, they're starting to get direct now. But I gotta hold my fort down. So instead of me getting all out of character, wanting to prove myself to a bunch of strangers, people I don't know, but that's just how I go. As a man, reputation, you know what I'm saying? In this program, you don't really care how people look at you or perceive, but still, you don't want to be no guy that people think they can push around physically. I understand the indirectly, but now it's starting to get direct. So it's like now they giving you evidence, though. They giving you fuel. So when they get direct like that, because usually they're going to do things where it's unprovable. There's no way they can prove, there's no way you can prove that they doing you this type of way. So when they do it direct, that means they're giving you provable evidence. They're giving you something that, you know what I'm saying? Boom. So if you get one of them, that ain't going to really do nothing to the whole infrastructure. You know what I'm saying? but at least you set an example for the directs. Because sometimes, yeah, you want to get your anger out. You want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, who is you talking to? You want to, you know what I mean? You want to set an example, but once you see the bigger picture of what the infrastructure wants, they want to pull that rage out. Well, especially somebody in my situation. I don't know about other people's situation, but I know in my situation, since I do have a criminal background, you know what I mean? I do have warrants in another state, you know what I mean? So I have to be on the straight and narrow. I can't sit here and play, okay, how much time this charge. I can't sit here and be like, all right, I'm gonna accept the consequences. Because it comes way more. It comes way more than just, you know, that little charge in my situation. So it's like, I gotta play wise. So when people get direct, then I have direct evidence, you know what I mean, to let the authorities handle it. Or unless I'm in a state of self-defense. But a lot of the situations is never a state of self-defense. They know how to play it strategic. They knew they was playing off my rage and irritation and stuff like that. You know, they would have got down if it was any other time, you know, but like, nah, it's not worth it. You got your wife at home, she chilling. You can't do it like that. Nah, you can't do it like that. You know what I'm saying? That means you put more value in these people than your own wife. You put more value of these people than your own freedom. Cause some other people like, man, what? You know, I be seeing people get down all the time around here. You know what I mean? It's a dude, you know, he be getting down, he be knocking folks out, you know what I mean? He be getting down all the time. And I done seen some Mexicans get down too around here. It's a park, you know what I'm saying? And it was a smaller dude beat up a taller dude. But I think they was drunk though, but he got some lickings on him real good. And across the street, seeing somebody get some lickings on them real good, you know? See, people could do that. They project to you like, hey, shoot, it's just a fight. People could do that. But, you know, in your situation, you can't do that. You under an orchestrated surveillance investigation. You know what I'm saying? It's like they pulling stuff out like a cold case or something. Like them files is never going away. It's like a long-term investigation. And folks is trying to force your hand by provoking violent response out of irritating you to death. They want that rage. They know you got it in you. Everybody got a certain rage in them. And when you poke that bear enough, boom. But it's like you got to know how to channel that rage and use it for fuel for positivity or to keep yourself safe and secure. The rage shouldn't be nothing that you should just attack aggressively and not logically and going out of emotions. Next thing you know, you in a world full of crap. You know? That's one of the things that you don't want to. That's one of the things that you don't want to get yourself into. And it's a learning lesson. I thought I had it down pat. You know what I mean? Because usually when they say, call me out my name, you know, say the word bitch, excuse my language, it usually be like lip singing. You know, and they look like he said it directly. It wasn't like no lip singing. It wasn't like how people do when they be in the random strangers be in their car and they give you the quick turn and say the word like lip service out of their mouth, say it, and you can read their lips. You've been sensitized to read their lips. No, it was direct. You know what I mean? It was direct. He just sized me up. He had the Dragon Ball Z scouter on. He was sizing me up. He was evaluating me. You know what I mean? what your power level is, where you at with it. So he had his DBZ Scout on. So I had to just deflect it. I mean, I didn't deflect it all the way, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, I ain't been trying like this in a while. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like, if he think that he gonna try me like this and think that I'm gonna do the majority of the work, nah, I'm gonna leave it to you. Maybe I know the managers helped him and stuff like that, but I don't like getting myself in them situations. But you know, certain places you just know it's like, okay, it's time to move on. You know, when you see the managers ain't about to do nothing, yeah, it's about time to move on. Especially when they see like how you work, like they see that you work, you know what I'm saying? And it's still not phasing them, then it's time to move on. You know, never put all your eggs in one basket. And always be open vessel for more opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Now, knowing that every job is going to kind of have the same mechanism. And if it don't at first, people eventually quit. People might get fired. You'll see managers get demoted. People get promoted. People get switched around. Every job that I've been at has been like that. Especially if it's when you first start the job off and it's people, they cool, they smooth. Next thing you know, they got fired, they quit. You know what I'm saying? It's just been a change. And those new people that get in, they get in there and they always act out. They always act out. You know what I'm saying? And I know especially in my targeting, every job I go, they gotta bring somebody in with some type of homosexuality nature. And it's like you're their prize. They'll put the indirects like you're their prize. Like they bought you or something. You know, so now they gotta work the manipulation around you to pull you in, to get you in. So it's like you see that. You still gotta work around it. You still gotta act like you don't see it and just keep it pushing. But this is the mechanism this is the dark spirit that operates at every job I go to. And it ain't never been like that, you know what I mean, before my targeting. It just been fresh energy. That's how I was like, tell how my job was. Yes, you had people that gonna size you up at other jobs. It was more genuine though. And the people, they didn't actually know you are. Like right now, it feels like everybody has access to this investigation room and you're like some type of FBI investigation room or a CIA investigation room where you're on the computer or you're on a piece of paper, thumbnail to a board. You know what I'm saying? That's how people give you that energy, like they know something about you. You know, before this targeting, people, they act like they didn't know nothing about me. You know what I'm saying? It was a fresh energy, like, you know, who are you, what you about, where you from, you know what I'm saying? Like certain people act cool, certain people, you know, have they alpha energy. Some people act bougie, you know what I'm saying? But it was genuine. It was the genuine rawness of people's emotions. You know what I'm saying? Like people didn't know nothing about you, but now it's artificial. Like people sit here and play like they know about you, but I mean, they'll sit there and play like they don't know about you, but they operate and move together in unison like they do know something about you, like it's bad. You know what I'm saying? Like you're a bad person. They operate like you don't belong on the streets. You know what I'm saying? That's how they operate around my target. They move and operate like I don't belong on the streets. You know, and they doing this for the good of the community, for the good of the neighborhood, to get bad people off the streets. And they don't care that you on your straight and narrow, upright, stand out the way, you know, you focused. They don't care about that unless you go in a compromising position, or they can manipulate and twist your beliefs, your morals, what you stand on. You know what I'm saying? It seems like that they'll get more satisfaction out of that. But when you got an iron will, you know what I'm saying? It's just a clash. You know, and people really be trying to act like they don't know nothing about you, but they steady give the indirect. They steady give you this energy like they know something about you. You know? Yeah, this is a spiritual warfare, but I ain't never been through spiritual warfare like this in my life. Even before the targeting, even when I was on drugs. You know what I'm saying? This wasn't. It didn't do me like this. It's when the program went overt and I was on drugs, that's when it just shifted. You know? So it's just like you could tell your reality before was more genuine, was more raw. Like if people know you, they know you. People don't know you, you gonna know. You know that feeling when a person don't know you. But when you in a program, majority of the people that you engage with, especially if it's an environment where you about to work or an environment where you go to repeatedly, routinely, then the people, they gonna have this mechanism behind them like they know you. And it's not like good. You know what I'm saying? Some people give you the nasty look. Some people give you a look like they trying to look straight, but it's still a certain energy, like it's something bad. And it's like they're working in unison to get you off the streets. But family, you can't operate off no rage. You can't operate off anger. You can't operate off trying to prove something. So I feel bad for the gangster TIs or people that's targeted and that's in a gang or gangster. Or I feel bad for the TIs that's programmed to be alpha. Because when you program to be alpha, when you got this certain type of programming in you and you got this alpha dominance, ego, pride, they gonna play on that every time. Some folks probably get away if they ain't got no criminal background, cause like if you ain't got no criminal background, then them little charges ain't gonna, as long as you don't get no attempted murder, you get a weapon and hit them with the weapon, and that's an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. If you registered with the hands, and your hands is registered, your hands become a deadly weapon. But if you just a regular fight and they want to press charges, that ain't really, they can't really, do you nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh shoot, I'll take that little charge. I'll be out like 1 week, 2 weeks. But like I said, for a person like me in my situation, I already got a criminal background. You know what I'm saying? And I got a warrant in another state. So that's more ammunition. You know what I mean? For them to paint a picture like he's a violent guy, he's a menace to society, he's causing disturbance in our state. You get what I'm saying? So I can't sit back and be like, oh, I'll just take that. Like, no. I gotta be upright. I gotta be square with it. I can't operate in no alpha energy. I can't operate like that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. From the outside looking in, people might be like, oh, you weak. But from the inside, they know, okay, this is an intelligent young man right here. But we're not gonna tell him that. We definitely not gonna tell him that he's intelligent. We're gonna continue to give him the projection like he weak, like he's soft, and people could just play with you. But the thing about it is you gotta be one step ahead. You gotta be smart. You know what I'm saying? You know that you're not just gonna let people continue to play with you, but if you can't prove it, until you can find a way to prove it, or until you find a way that you can do something about it, if you can't do nothing about it, it's no need for you to retaliate and act out of aggression and rage. You get what I'm saying? Because that's where I'm at with my targeting. Maybe in my early phase of my targeting, boom, you know what I'm saying? I know, I had some moments in my early phase of my targeting where I roughed this dude up at this store, and that was on Memorial Drive in Georgia. But other than that, once I really peeped, something's up, you know what I'm saying, and got up out of there, got on the Greyhound, I didn't rough nobody up. I just been chill. But the early phases, yeah, definitely it could bring the rage out. Yeah. Now, where I'm at with it, I ain't at no rage phase or anything like that. I'm thankful for my situation. Even though, you know what I'm saying, it's a uncomfortable situation at times, but it's designed that way around you to make it uncomfortable. It's not that genuine rawness of it's just uncomfortable. It's a artificial mechanism, you know what I mean, that's just activating people that comes around you. They just start activating. They start, it's like a Bluetooth or something. Like when Bluetooth pop up on your phone, it's because they close by. It's like they activate like a Bluetooth or something. They come near you and they activate. They do they rubbing their nose. They do they pulling up their shorts or pulling up their pants. You know what I'm saying? They put the finger in the face. They push their glasses in. It's like some type of activation of body language. You know what I mean? Then once you get closer to the conversation, they gonna say, something indirect. You know what I mean? And these people operate off this mechanism like they know something about you. And that's an uncomfortable feeling when you're around strangers and they sit there and indirects and gaslight you, light you, give you indirects like they know something bad about you and are, you know what I'm saying, that you just tripping. So it's just that constant combo mix of we know something about you and then now you just tripping. Let's just give that uncomfortable feeling. And if you got like a weak mind, it could break a person. That's why it's good to get in the Bible. A lot of people they mad at God or something. Or they done got real deep in these rabbit holes and they don't see the divinity of God. You know what I'm saying? They done let them rabbit holes pull them in. And now it's like, if you can't prove it to them tangibly, they don't want to hear it. If you can't prove it to them scientifically, they don't want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? But for those who know it's a spiritual battle, spiritual war, there's Satan out here, God is out here, it's demons out here, it's angels out here, then you got to fill yourself up with the word. You know what I'm saying? You got to fill yourself up with the word. Keep your mind strong. Keep your mindset strong. Keep your eyes on the prize. Keep your mindset strong. Stay focused. Sound look like a little street theater right there. Street theater altercation. Sometimes the street theater can be ritualistic, and you got to deflect that type of energy. Because sometimes they be wanting you to, they throwing stuff at you, you know what I'm saying? And you can carry that energy into your household, and you don't even know why. You arguing with your spouse, or you arguing with one of the people you love, and you don't even know why. Because they doing these ritualistic street theater tactics. You know, when you get in a certain part of your programming, you can see that they put you in some type of sorcery bubble. And you have been a target to, you know, investigators. You know what I'm saying? Community-based organizations. You know what I mean? And demons. And you got to know how to navigate, especially if you're a person in my situation that has a criminal background and that has a warrant in another state. You got to know how to navigate around this thing. They gonna try to use rage to pull you back. And you just got to be prepared and just have the knowledge and patience, you know what I'm saying, and self-control to know, like, when to go to the authorities. You know, either ignore it if it's super light,